Yo, what's up, guys? It's Chase. Very quick updates today. All right, we had our CPI print this morning. It came in hot. Last time when it came in hot, we dumped hard. But this time we actually dumped and then we reversed fairly quickly. I think something to note is that typically when markets are able to shrug off bad news, or if markets are able to, so basically if markets are able to pump when news is bad, or if markets dump when news is good, that's typically a sign of underlying strength or weakness. Now, you guys know over the past week or so, I've talked about Bitcoin moving up towards this 20.5k level. I still think that's possible. I also talked about monthly time frame and sweeping these lows. That's possible as well. Not trying to flip-flop or go either way here. Basically what I'm saying is, and I wanted to get to this point in sort of the discussion section of the video, but basically what I'm saying is that this market is becoming increasingly difficult, in my opinion, for newcomers over the past couple weeks. You really have to be able to adjust bias like that. I did a little doom posting today in the morning talking about potentially I didn't say anything about being short or anything, but I was dooming in terms of people who are always saying that they're buying spot. Well, they've been buying spot all year. I guess it's not really relevant. They've been buying spot all year. They're dying on that hill, but they're not really dying on the hill, because when all's said and done, they're going to come out and pretend and say, oh yeah, well, I was only putting in 1% of my net worth at a time. And, when Bitcoin finally went to 12,000, that's when I really bought spot. So ignore all this macro talk, in my opinion, when it comes to buying, right? I think that the macro trend is still down, and you need to recognize that fast plays are the move here, right? In and out, quick profits, quick trades on to the next one. And like I said, you have to be willing to flip your bias quickly. So I had this level marked out from this morning, swear on my life. Unfortunately, I slept through it. I don't even know if I would have had the balls to buy it anyway. It's quite simple, right? Weekly resistance, resistance, resistance. Flips to support here, breaks upwards, okay? This stuff is simple. People always ask me, how do you find the levels? I mean, just look at the weekly close, weekly rejection, weekly rejection. When it flips, it taps it right there, and it starts to go. Okay, so perfect tap. Like I said, even if I was awake, I'm not sure if I would have bid it, to be honest. But nice to know that the level was respected, and my levels are good, so to say. Moving over to the daily now, if we're on ES here, we had the June low, swept the June low. Bit of a fake out, so to say, this morning. Keep in mind we are pushing up into this sort of inefficient area right here. Oftentimes you do see deviations in these areas, and we'll watch for that and see what happens. If we do flip the June low to support, we probably rally higher. My area of interest, next area of interest for selling, is around 4,000. I am actually already long on ETH from 1240 or 1250. Moving over to ETH now. The way I see it, it's just a clean sweep, right? When I see something like this super clean, right? You had your previous consolidation here, right? That put in your local bottom, this consolidation. We started dipping into that consolidation here. We dipped into it once. We swept the low. Nice, clean sweep here, okay? We didn't see that on Bitcoin, right? We didn't really get much of a clean sweep here. This is the monthly equal lows here. Didn't really get a clean sweep here. And on Binance and some of the larger exchanges, you didn't sweep at all. Obviously, Bybit's a large exchange too, but on this chart, it only sweeps the very tiniest bit. On Binance, it doesn't actually sweep at all. Okay, 1 second. So yeah, long on ETH. I think ETH heads towards 1,500 right in here. You have confluence of 618 resistance. You have this little inefficiency here. Those typically fill. I like the sweep here. This has already been swept. And I think you're getting like a 3 risk reward, or I was getting like a 3.15 risk reward when I open this trade. Let's see. Oh yeah, because I got in from lower. 1240. I was lining it up with where the current candle is. 1240ish, 1245ish, something like that, and then target right above here. Yeah, okay. So I thought it was like 3.15. My numbers might be a tad bit off here, but yeah, I think I was getting like 3.2 risk reward, something along that line. I'll probably ride that until it looks shit, right? And this is what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to really push the point into is that, I don't know, I feel like if you're a beginner in the market right now, like, you might just be better off just watching a bit more. It's very hard to provide good signal right now, because if ES closes back below, or really just flips resistance, and then how do you know if it flips resistance or not? This is stuff I've explained in previous videos and watching for different type of entry techniques and stuff. Yeah, man, it's difficult to do these videos lately and try to really get my thoughts across, because the shit is not simple. It's not as simple as it once was. It's not just like, okay, sweep and go long. Like a couple months ago, not even during bull, if you flip this over and this was a bear setup and this swept, this would already be in here within like a couple minutes. Now volatility is extremely low on crypto. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for crypto to catch a bid. I mean, look at this candle on S&P, and yet, crypto is still just, it's very just not, people are not interested in buying this shit right now. So I think though at any point the tune can change, but at the same time, I think that all it's going to take is for ES to, drop back below here, and, at my long on ETH is instantly going to be back towards here. Maybe I'll get out, maybe I'll stay in if this level holds, right? Because we have the low, we have a sweep of the low, and then sometimes the retest can be a good buy opportunity as well. So I'll watch the retest, but if the retest comes down and the retest flips to resistance, then that's probably where I get out, okay? And then at that point, what do I take? I take about a 0.4 or a half R loss, okay? If you understand the risk reward system, once again, this is all stuff I've taught before. Yeah, it's very difficult. I feel like every single video I need to find a solution for that I don't need to rehash and re-explain concepts every single video. I guess I just say fuck it and just keep going. Yeah, so the biggest thing with my trading right now is that I'm losing more than I'm winning, but the losses are very small, and the wins are always 2 to 4 or 5 risk reward, right? So that's what I mean by having a very quick flipping bias, how I'm flipping bias quickly. I could be long on this, and I could see it go back down, and I can see ES come back down a little bit and say, oh, okay, I'm out. And that's a minus 0.3 R loss. And then it reclaims again, and I get long again. Oh, okay, and then I capture 3 R. Well, what am I? I'm up 2.7 R at that point. So gotta be nimble. I did a tweet this morning like, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, or Jack be broke, because really right now you need to be extremely nimble in these markets. If you're trying to hold on for for 3K or something crazy, I don't know, I find it foolish. I don't think, there's always going to be a bottom at some point, but I think to try, many people will be forced to sell the bottom trying to catch the bottom. Let's put it that way. For all the people who've been, you could really look through CT and, they're buying spot, they're buying spot, they're buying spot, they're buying more spot, buying more spot, buying more spot. I mean, if they're really buying all that spot, okay, I guess you could be, accumulating for, 10, 20 years out. I don't know what the hell. But, if you have any leverage on it too, if there's any leverage on it whatsoever, I mean, when you get down, or if we get down to these type of prices and you're a forced seller, well, that's when the real bottom's going to be put in. When all the people who accumulated, quote unquote, or bought spot, quote unquote, over all this time, when those people are forced into selling because, they they started off buying spot, and then they said, oh, well, we can bump it up to 2x leverage. No way it's going down to this price. I'm safe here. And then, eventually that person is a forced seller, and that's when a real bottom gets put in. So I'm personally on the macro buying of, spot, and, if you're interested in buying stocks or anything, I'm personally still remaining reserved on that. Do I think buys at 19? Honestly, I don't. I don't think that buys at 19K are good, and maybe I'll have to bite my tongue on that later. But I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I mean, when you sold up here, it is what it is. If Bitcoin runs back up, I'll find my way in. I had somebody, saying today, talking about. Oh no, I think the dog's about to go off. I had someone talking today about, oh, it's not good to wait for a shift in conditions. I don't understand. I mean, so you're telling me that off of the 3K low, there was never a good opportunity to buy Bitcoin? I mean, you didn't see an obvious shift in market structure right here? The COVID low, all this consolidation that pushed us towards the COVID low. I mean, you could even go low. You didn't see a shift in market structure here, right? So, big capitulation. There's your high. Flips market structure. So there was a buy there. What about this origin of impulse down right here? Well, there was almost a buy there. What about this flip right here? Oh, there was buys there. What about when it took off above this high? There was buys there. I mean, there's so many opportunities to buy. The fact that people want to buy during the downtrend is confusing to me, because you actually don't know where this goes. You don't know if it goes down to 12K. You don't know if this goes down to I guess this looks decent. Lows here, deviation here, consolidation here, brings this up move. You don't know if it goes to 9K, a quick dip below 10, right? So you don't actually know where this goes. And if you've been, I'm DCing, well, good for you, but I don't know. I personally would rather wait for some type of a shift. I mean, tell me this doesn't look disgusting. And not only that, but if you go over to a chart like the monthly or something, and if you think about just how liquidity typically is, you have a low here. This was 17,580. This low 17. So on. It actually did sweep it on Coinbase, but this did not sweep on other exchanges. But point being, these little super tiny couple point sweep. I don't think you're going to be seeing big players get filled by that. So I ultimately do think that we get a little deviation below here. Whether that leads us immediately to the 12K level or whatnot, or whether we do something like a sweep, push back up to 26, and then we finally go, and then that's the way we get back up. I mean, that's something that's possible too. Point being, there's so much that's possible, and you just have to be a nimble trader. I think it's very stupid right now, for lack of better words, to try to predict where we're going rather than just short-term trading. Everything I'm doing, I'm looking for a couple percent here and there, right? I mean, this is actually a large move that I'm talking about right here, 17%. I probably won't even hold it that long. Knowing me, I'll take partial profits at this liquidity high. I'll take more here. And I'll be closed up to, I want to say I'll be closed up to 70% by this level. And then I'll let the last 30% ride if it wants to push into here, right? So that's probably a more meaningful 8%, 10%. 10%, that's more realistic right now in these market conditions than 20%. Okay? So that's the type of shit I'm buying, low time frame shit. Just keeping the pace high, right? I don't know. I do think that I said that I'd like to see ES move into here because I think it provides cleaner trading, right? And when you just go straight down, you're either, like I said, when you're just going straight down, you're either knife catching or you're just basically, buying and praying, or like, obviously you have levels to work off of, like this level that I had marked, but excuse me, but it's like, I don't know, who really wants to step in front of the train when you have a ton of negative news, you have a negative CPI print. Obviously someone stepped in front of that train today. Some big player stepped in front of that train, but that's different than some retail plebs like ourselves, essentially, trying to buy a level like this. Because if there ain't some big player behind us, we're fucked. And you know how ES moves and the ES contracts, and that shit can add up. So yeah, I guess if I had to TLDR, I know this was a bit of a scatterbrained video, but if I had to just TLDR the whole thing, it's just keep your moves nimble, trade quick, get in and out, be willing to flip bias literally like on the daily, right? Like you need to look at the chart each day and say, okay, well, just a very brief example, right? I think you can actually just look at this and you can just say, okay, this sweep, I have a daily bullish bias because we swept a major liquidity level into a previous major consolidation that formed a local bottom. I'm bullish on the day, okay? You look at ES, you say, wow, ES tapped a weekly level and it reclaimed the June low. I am now bullish on ES unless it loses the June low and flips it back to resistance. This is now where I'm once again bearish bias on a somewhat higher time frame. So right now I am favoring longs, okay? But I will be very quick to start favoring shorts if we lose these key levels, okay? If we can't support this here, if Bitcoin, where were we on Bitcoin? Bitcoin, it's, I guess this is sort of like your level here, because we didn't get a sweep, right? I think holding 18.5 is good for Bitcoin. We want to see Bitcoin hold 18.5. Let's see if there's actually anything on the lower time frame. Yeah, you see you have sort of a shift in market structure here on 18.5. Okay, so we want to see 18.5 held. We want to see 12.20 held. And on ES, we want to see 36.39 hold. As long as all those levels hold, we can maintain bullish bias. Okay, and if we lose those levels, we're back to bearish bias, and if we reclaim those levels, we're back to bullish bias. And that's why I'm saying that this market is becoming increasingly difficult for amateur and beginner traders, and in their first year, first 2-3 years, whatever. It takes some years to get accustomed to this stuff, and it's just not easy right now. You have to flip-flop a lot. You have to be prepared to adjust a lot. You have to be prepared to accept little losses multiple times in order to get to that win, that 2 to 3 R win, right? So for every 2 to 3 R win, you may have 2 to 3, negative 0.2 R losses, like a quarter loss. I got a quarter loss here, I got a quarter loss here, I got a quarter loss here. But then, so if your risk reward, if you're risking $100 to make $300 on a 3R trade, well, maybe you're losing $25, $25, $25, but then you make your 300, right? So you have to be willing to play that game right now because the market is very flip-floppy, very choppy, and that's what the current game is, okay? Thank you very much to Prime XBT for sponsoring these videos. You can find my links at the bottom. If you want these videos to keep coming, you please sign up, deposit on there. Very helpful to me. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a great week. See you next week.